Guten Morgen. Hello there. Alexis here. I haven't been videoing as much and as regularly as I've wanted to. However, the last few weeks have been busy. It's been summer, so I've been mostly outside. But today I wanted to share with you a book that I got recommended by my friend Jonathan, which I've read every day now for the last month. It's called The Chimp Paradox, and there's practically every chapter is a mind blow, and it's really, really good. I highly recommend you reading it. The basic premise of this book is that we basically, on the very high level, we have two major systems in our brain that make us think, feel, and act in certain ways, and depending on which of the two brains, so to speak, is activated or is triggered, you behave either like a chimp or like a human. And the main thesis of this book is that we have a huge part of our brain is a chimp brain, or is part of a very old part of our brain that reacts very emotionally, very irrationally, sees things black and white. Is this chimp brain sees things very catastrophically, very extreme, because when you are in a jungle and you're surviving and you're not the top level apex predator, you are, seeing things a little bit more extreme. However, since we're humans, the human brain is able to see sort of a spectrum. It is concerned not only about itself and its own survival, but also those around himself or herself. And the two theses, or the main points of the book, are: A, you're not your chimp, which I think is amazing. Your chimp may act on what's happening in the world, but you're not your chimp. That's an automatic program that's just running. It's part of our brain. And the other part is you're human, which I think is really helped me actually recognize, yes, I'm often very emotional, or I'm very irrational, and I do things that I wish I didn't, or I think in ways that I wish I didn't think. And that's because this chimp part of my brain is not only very strong, it's actually 5 times as strong as my human brain. So the first any sensation will first go through the chimp brain, and will be processed there, anytime, and only when you take a stop and look around and listen, you are able to engage the human mind. And it's been amazing. And I think actually meditation and breathing techniques, and I guess like all kinds of things that are good for you, help you sort of make that switch easier, to go from chimp brain to human brain. But what I wanted to talk to you about today is actually a very late chapter in the book, and I think it's almost at the end, on page 303. You can see that here, the planet of happiness. This chapter talks about what makes us happy, what makes your chimp happy, and what makes your human happy. And one part of this chapter is a breakdown of what has incredible high influence on our behaviors, which is our self-image, our self-worth, our self-esteem, and our self-confidence. And first of all, I hadn't really seen it broken down into these 4 pieces. So self-image, how do you see yourself? Self-worth, how do you value yourself? How self-esteem is, let's see, how you compare yourself to others. And then self-confidence is what you believe that you're capable of doing. So first of all, I really liked this breakdown. And the main point of this chapter in this great, fantastic book is that, just like you're acting and you're thinking either as a chimp at any given point in time, and most likely you are acting and thinking like a chimp emotionally, survival driven, very black and white, the same way you actually create your self-image. So you can choose, in fact, and this is the main point of this chapter, is you can choose to build and base your self-image based on either your chimp, which is very extreme, it's very win or lose, black and white, or you can base your self-image on your human brain, which is more concerned with, for example, values that you have, like kindness or compassion or purpose. So this actually has helped me this week incredibly. So if we take, I'm going to quote a little bit. If we take, for example, the idea of the self-image. The chimp is a vulnerable individual trying hard to be accepted within the troop and trying to impress the troop, which is the people around you. This is a permanent state and will never change. This is another great important point. Typically, the chimp will be very self-critical and lack confidence in its own abilities in order to eliminate errors or show weaknesses. It will be intolerant of any shortcomings or mistakes that it makes. Chimp believes that others are constantly judging it and seeing its own fault. The way that human thinks will show you the alternative viewpoint. The human recognizes that although everyone has different abilities and looks, everyone is equally valuable as a human being. The human will give you a balanced viewpoint and see both attractive and unattractive aspects about yourself, if we're talking about self-image. So a human is more concerned about compassion, honesty, and altruism. And on the other hand, the chimp will look at your physical appearance and your achievements and define and give you an image based on that. So happiness about your self-image is unlikely to be stable if you base it on the chimp's opinion of what matters, and is very likely to lead you into emotional turmoil on a regular basis. Make sure, basically, this chapter or this part concludes, make sure that you choose and that you're aware that your self-image is based on human values and not chimp values, so that your self-image is based on things that are of a higher nature, such as, again, empathy, kindness, compassion. Are you, as a human, are you sort of making sure that these qualities shine through you as a human, as opposed to basing your self-image on status and on ownership, on things that you have or looks that you have, because it's very risky to place your self-image, which is a huge psychological driver for everything else that you do in your day, on something that is volatile and really black and white. So if you, let's say, for example, if you put your self-image based on your looks, then a bad hair day, for example, will destroy you, will diminish your self-image. Or if you put your self-image, if you base it on the chimp's idea of money or on ownership, and let's say you lose, let's say you have a great job and then you lose it because of things that happen, life happens, you'll be crushed. And as opposed to if you say, I'm basing my self-image, for example, on kindness, it's something where I can ask myself, am I being kind? Am I being kind to myself? Am I kind to people around me? Am I doing the best I can? And out of a sudden, all of this part of the self-image is based on something I can control, and that's really feels so much better to think about yourself and have a self-image based on really important and good qualities and higher qualities than, how much money do I have in the bank, or how much beer can I drink, or I don't know, like all these sort of chimpy monkey business values. So the same goes in the same chapter, page 303, and the Chimp's Paradox. The same goes for self-esteem, self-worth. So what's your, the same idea applies. Are you basing your self-worth on very chimp basic survival driven values, or are you placing it on something that is on the human spectrum? And last but not least, confidence. They have a whole chapter only that breaks out just for confidence. The idea is that believing yourself that you can do something. If you come from the chimp point of view, then you're easily scared to make failures, to make mistakes. And the human antidote, so to speak, for building self-confidence and being self-confident is to say, I'm going to try my best, and even though things can go wrong and I might not be good enough yet, I can deal with the consequences and I can get better. And I really like the how thinking about these things from a human perspective, not from a chimp perspective, it takes away so much pressure from yourself. So I've been using this now for the last week and a little bit more, and it's really given me back my humanity. I guess this is what really happened. Is it's given me a chance to breathe and say, you know, if I look at my life, which lens, which pair of glasses am I looking at my life through, and make, and generate feelings based on that? Am I looking at my life through the chimp point of view, who's really limited in his vocabulary in the first place? Or am I looking at my life through a human lens and say there's a lot of spectrum, there's a lot of, different colors, like a color spectrum. It's not all just black and white. There's a lot of in between, and it's a lot less extreme and dangerous and catastrophic than the chimp makes me believe. So again, highly recommend it. I got this recommended by my friend Jonathan. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for recommending this book. I've loved it. I read a chapter every day, so it takes a while. I wouldn't rush through it. But if you could only read one thing, I would read the introduction and the Planet of Happiness, because I thought that has the most leverage. And yeah, so thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.